Hi there, my name's Dave and welcome back to the album review channel. We're bringing you an album listen through today, and it's the first side of the Jethro Tull album Stormwatch from 1979. We're going to play the whole of the first side as it would have been on vinyl and listen to each of the songs. And today we're playing side one, so we've got 5 tracks to go through: North Sea Oil, Orion, Home, Dark Ages and the instrumental Warm Sporran. Let's get straight into it with North Sea Oil. So that's track 1, North Sea Oil. Now, whilst this album is not really a concept album as such, many of the tracks revolved around environmental issues at the time, and this first opening track was casting our minds back to the late 70s, was when the exploration of the oil fields off the Scottish coast were being explored by the government to try and help to solve our energy crisis. Yeah, that's really worked out well some 50 years later, hasn't it? So many of the tracks on here have some sort of an environmental element, and this was certainly no exception. The bright opening to the album, really loved this one indeed. So the second track is called Orion. It's about the star constellation. Orion. So track 2, Orion, that's a nice tune. The comparison between this great big heavy chorus where everything's being thrown into the mix, and then there's this quiet, delicate verses with the orchestrated sounds coming through, which was such a complete opposite to that heavy chorus. Keyboard player Dee Palmer was responsible for the orchestral arrangements for that particular track, and indeed on this album. Interestingly enough, bass player John Glascock was only involved on 2 of the pieces on this album, Orion and Flying Scotsman, because his health was suffering at the time, and he was actually fired from the band. Ian Anderson took the very difficult decision of firing him, basically as a duty of care, because he was really struggling. So this was one of only 2 tracks on this particular version of the album that John Glascock played on. So that's track 2. Next track up is Home. Okay, that was Home. I have to be honest, not my favourite track on the album. Nothing wrong with the ballad in there, but the start of it is so pedestrian and so uncomfortable, in my opinion, that it really put us all on the back burner. And it does pick up a little bit. There's some nice guitar work there from Martin Barr, as I said. The orchestration is quite subtle and supports the track, but really not my favourite, and there definitely are better tracks both on this side and on the whole album as a whole. So a bit of a downer, that one, and we'll move on to the next track. Next up, it's a track called Dark Ages. Here we go. Dark Ages. I think it's fair to say that as the last track, Home, was not my most favourite, that one certainly pulls it back and is a very good track indeed. All the elements of a classic prog rock sound for me, a classic Jethro Tull sound for me. Everything's in there. I love that we finally, well, not finally, but we get to hear more of Martin Barr's delicious guitar in there, and that was very, very welcome, and we perhaps could have done a little bit more up at this point, but I'll take what we've got, and that was really good and interesting. So we're going to finish off this first side in a moment with the instrumental A Warm Sporran. Just before we get into that final track from this first side, I think a note there also for Barr's lead guitar was extremely brilliant. I think Ian Anderson stepping into the bass guitar very strong bass line on there, and one that was really very exemplary. So a special mention there, but very good, very good. So we finish off this first side of Stormwatch with the instrumental Warm Sporran. Let's have it, take a listen. And off it mends its way into the distance. So that completes the first side of Stormwatch. Interestingly enough, whilst the album was being recorded, Anderson, Barr and Palmer were also involved in writing a piece for the Scottish ballet that they were commissioned to write. And that particular track had a foot in both camps in as much as it was used as part of that project and also included on this album. Overall, a very nice first side from the album. As I say, Home, I can probably do without. Dark Age is very, very strong. I really love that one. And as I say, nice little shanty just to finish off with on that first side. Hope you've enjoyed this one. We're going to be doing side 2 as soon as we can, but in the meantime, those who can't wait, there's a link to another Jethro Tull video here. And it's one that I know that you're going to enjoy, so we'll see you across there. Other than that, thanks for watching, and bye for now.